Hey, this is Heather. So I think by now most of us know that the fad diets don't really work. The low carb, the low fat, the paleo, those kinds of fad diets in the long term just don't work because there's restriction, which then leads to feeling deprived, which then leads to the eventual binging. So there's the yo-yo effect with your weight, with your self-esteem. It's a negative cycle that just doesn't serve you in the long term. So a lot of my work is dedicated to helping you break out of those cycles. And the good news is that there are lots of other ways to achieve your goals without resorting to fad diets. Now, one that's really popular right now is intuitive eating, which is the concept of eating only when you're hungry and stopping when you're full. A lovely ideal. I love intuitive eating. I love the idea of listening to what your body is telling you, tuning in to your body's messages. You guys who've been watching me for a while will have heard me say stuff like this all the time. As a holistic nutritionist, this is what my work is in large part based on, is tuning into the messages and the signals that your body is giving you to direct you as to what you should be doing. But there's a point at which I feel pure intuitive eating is a little bit limited or limiting. 3 questions come up for me when I think about intuitive eating. Okay, 1, is it a luxury? Is it a privilege? For me, the flexibility that I have in my life allows me to be fairly intuitive about what and when I'm eating. But if I compare my lifestyle to, say, a paramedic or a nurse who's on a 12-hour shift, 13, 24-hour shifts at a time, it's not fair for me to compare what I do to what they're able to do in their life. When I compare myself to a mother who's preparing meals for her family, having breakfast ready for everybody before they head out the door to school or work, having lunches ready for them to take with them, having dinner on the table at a certain time. She might not be able to listen to her own intuition about what her body needs because she's taking care of her family. And it's good if we can create a balance between those two, care for self and care for others. But sometimes you can't do exactly what your body needs because you're serving food to others. Cost and access to food. If I only have so much time, so much energy to put into worrying about things, and I'm worrying about just being able to get food to put in my mouth, to put on my table for my family, am I really going to be worrying about my body's hunger cues and satiety cues? My second question is, can we trust the messages that our body is giving to us? I trust my body's messages pretty well because I've been doing this for a long time. But for someone who has had a lifelong struggle with overeating, or who can't decipher the difference between a craving that's induced by eating something that's full of refined sugar or a lot of salt versus an actual hunger cue, that's going to be difficult to trust the messages that their body is giving them. That's why shifting to intuitive eating does take time. And some of these can be overcome with just doing this for a long time, like I have. But it's also a question that I think goes to the root of how do we build this intuition? Now, the origins of intuitive eating are really just about those hunger and satiety cues. So eating only when your body is hungry, stopping when your body is full. But I do see some going into the intuition of what to eat. And this is where my third question comes up. Does our body really know and direct us as to what's best for our long-term health. So it's one thing to say that, oh, I'm craving grapes today and it's because I'm really thirsty. I haven't had enough water. That happens to me sometimes. Or I'm craving chocolate, so maybe that means that I'm low in magnesium, which is a common underlying cause of chocolate cravings. But there are other causes of chocolate cravings, obviously. Sugar, just the taste of chocolate. Sometimes there are clues from what we're craving and what our body needs. But is my body really going to tell me to eat some almonds because I need more calcium, because I need to reach peak bone mass by the time I'm 35 so that I don't get osteoporosis when I go through menopause? I don't think so. Our body gives us mixed messages all the time. So I know that running in the morning is best for my body. But sometimes my body tells me to sleep in. Sometimes that's because I need to sleep in. Maybe I didn't get enough sleep. Maybe my body needs to recover from something. But sometimes it's just cozy under the blankets. So our body gives us mixed messages, and I don't think we can rely on intuition to direct us for long-term health. So between that and guiding our intuition when we've not been eating healthfully our whole lives, brings me to the path forward. So I see in my life, what I use is a combination of intuition, knowledge, and action. So my intuition as to what I should eat, when I should eat, how much I should eat, is based in large part on the knowledge that I have as a nutritionist. So comparing myself to someone who's not a nutritionist, my intuition, if you want to call it that, is totally different. For example, I know how much calcium I need in a day. I know which foods have calcium. I know what I've eaten for breakfast and lunch, and approximately how much calcium I've gotten. Not really in terms of numbers. I don't really do mental math through the day. But having done meal plans for so long, I know kind of the quantities of foods that I should be eating during a day. So when I look at how much I should be eating for dinner, it really is this back script of my mind as a nutritionist saying, okay, I've eaten this for breakfast, I've eaten this for lunch, I've had this snack, so here's what I should eat for dinner. It might feel or look like intuition on a certain level, but it is absolutely most definitely driven by my knowledge as a nutritionist. So I call this intelligently intuitive eating. It takes my knowledge to know what I should be eating, how much I should be eating, when I should be eating, and blends it with intuition to know if I'm pushing too hard or not pushing hard enough. Because if we rely solely on intuition, it can be hard to tell the difference between our intuition and excuses. And if we rely too much on knowledge, we can get too rigid. So I find if I blend the two and use them to take consistent action, that's where the sweet spot is. That's where I base all of my work in my meal plans, in my consultations with clients, in everything that I do as a holistic nutritionist. I'm trying to blend the intuition with the knowledge, and I'm trying to pass that on to you so that you can have that background script going on in your mind to help you have the knowledge to make the choices for yourself that you should be making, but also working with the ebbs and flows of your day, of your life. I have the luxury of being able to throw together a balanced meal in 10 minutes flat because I have certain things working for me. A, I have the foods in my kitchen that I want to be eating, because when I go to the grocery store, that's what I buy, and I don't buy other stuff that I don't want to be eating. B, my taste buds have acclimatized over the years so that they want the healthy stuff, and they want certain flavors, and they don't need the abundance of sugar and salt that are in processed foods. C, I've done so many meal plans over the years that the foods that I know I should eat during the day are internalized. So I know what I need to put in my breakfast, my lunch, my dinner, my snacks to get a well-rounded day of nutrients. And D, I have the portions internalized also, so I know how much fuel I need for the day based on all of those meal plans that I've done over the years. So, if you want to get started on learning how this knowledge and intuition can work together, I've got a free 7-day program. You can sign up at the link down below this video. You can also check out my meal plan programs, which show you step-by-step how to go through a day, how to get all the nutrients you need. My idea with those meal plans is not to get you hooked on a weekly or monthly program, but to show you exactly how to lay out a day so that you can get that knowledge in your brain, working in the background, so that going forward you can put together meals on your own using your intelligent intuition. Subscribe to my channel if you want to get more videos like this, and leave me a comment or a question down below if you have anything to add. Thanks so much for sharing this time with me. Hope you have a wonderfully healthy day, and we'll talk soon.